In this video, I am going to try to do a comprehensive test by the numbers on a tool, keeping everything the same except what the variable that I'm testing for, and that is an off-brand battery compared to the Ego OEM battery. These are 3 Ego batteries made to power any of the Ego tools, any of the tools they sell, from lawnmowers to leaf blowers to snow blowers to chainsaws. They make a bunch of stuff. This is a 12 amp one. These two are 5 amps. This one came with my snow blower. I have 2 of them. This one is brand new. It came with the shop vac, which I recently purchased, and I haven't used this except just to try it out to make sure it worked. I have 2 5 amp batteries here, but I have more of them, and they have all been very good. My oldest one is 2018, and I'm still using it in my lawnmower because the lawnmower is from that year. Some people have varying degrees of success with these, but Ego makes just battery operated devices. That's all they do. So they have a vested interest in having decent warranties on their equipment. This battery, as long as I don't use it commercially, is 5 years. The others are 3. They're very expensive. This battery is about $500. This one is $299, and that is if you purchase them separately without the tool. If you buy them with the tool, they'll be about 30% less with the tool. But these 3 batteries, even though they work with Ego tools, are not the same. This one is a third-party battery. And the main difference right now that I know is that this 5 amp battery compared to this one has a huge price difference. This one, like I said before, is $299. This one, with a discount that they had when I purchased it, was $65. That's a huge difference in what appears to be the same thing. Now, both of these are made in China. And wouldn't it be wonderful if the $65 batteries were just as good as the $299 ones? So here's how I am going to test these. I have the Ego 650 leaf blower. And I actually have 2 of these along with a backpack blower. This one, I broke it. A string went into the back of it, my fault, and broke a blade. I posted online on Facebook as a joke because it was kind of a funny thing. You know, my bathing suit string went into the back of this and broke a blade. Ego contacted me, and 2 weeks later, there was a new leaf blower on my doorstep, free of charge. So I have good luck with Ego as far as dealing with them so far. And I haven't had anything else break or go bad on me, so I haven't had to contact them at any other time. I've taken the nozzle off from this, and this still runs, but when it does run, here, let me put a battery in, I'll show you. I'll put this one in. Sounds really loud, and it sputters. That, it should make a whirring sound, not that sound. And that broken blade is what does that. So I'm going to use this to test because I just have to leave it on for a long time. Now, I am going to try to do this as accurately as I can. And I was a science teacher for most of my adult life. So, I kind of know the difference between good science and bad science. And this is a science experiment. And when you do a test like this, you try to control all of the variables. So let me give you an idea of some of the controls I'm going to use and the variable that I'm going to be testing for. First of all, the variable. The only difference is we want to compare the original battery to the third-party battery. That's the only thing we want to do. What is the difference between the two? So we have to keep everything else the same. They're both 5-amp batteries. They will both have a full charge from the same charger. They will both have plenty of time to cool down after charging. This leaf blower, when it's used for each test, will have plenty of time to cool down and come back to where it was. I have an air conditioner in the shop. It will be set so that the temperature won't vary much between 70 and 75 degrees. There are some other things to consider too. One is how I set this up. They will be set up identically. There will be a voltmeter on each test for each battery. There will be a timer that will time exactly the run time. These batteries both have a dial indicator with 5 bars. Each bar indicates 20% of battery life. I don't know if they're calibrated the same, but we'll take a look at each as the battery is drained. One thing I can tell you that is different about these two batteries is that this Ego battery weighs 4.98 pounds, so almost 5 pounds. The third-party battery is 4.19 pounds, so not quite 4.25 pounds. So that's about 3/4 of a pound less, and it is suspected, I don't want to prejudge this, but it is suspected that even though both of these batteries are 56 volts, which is the amount of power is needed to make the air come out at a certain speed in here, even though they're 56 volts and they're supposed to be 5 amps, if the third-party battery weighs less, it could just be because the Ego battery has a more beefed up case and it is different. It's kind of rubbery on the outside compared to the other one, or other factors. It also could be that there are fewer cells in the third-party battery. And that is what it is suspected by some people who have used them. Some people use the battery, third-party batteries, and they say they're wonderful. I'm blowing the leaves off my yard and everything, but they're probably not finding out exactly how long it's running. Now, the amount of current in here, the 5 amps, indicates the run time. So let's say on full speed, just for argument's sake, that this runs 30 minutes. This OEM battery runs 30 minutes. The third-party battery should also, under identical circumstances, run about 30 minutes. If it runs 20, it's probably because there aren't as many cells in here. A way to sell a battery for less price, of course, is to make it with cheaper materials, but also leave out some of the cells. And I don't know how they can advertise it as 5 amps or 5,000 milliamps, but since there are so many third-party batteries, and they all look a little different, but there are so many different ones at various prices, but all a lot less, nobody's probably paying attention. So if the Ego battery lasts longer, that's probably the reason why, because lithium cells put out a certain amount of power, whether they're cheap ones or not, but it's the number of cells that are in the battery that might make a difference. And if that battery weighs almost a pound less, it could be that there may only be 4 amps of batteries in there and maybe not 5 amps. I hope not. Wouldn't it be great if we get a $65 battery that we could replace a $300 battery with?
Now, all that I've done here is cut a test lead in half, and I'm sticking one end into the positive and the other lead into the negative of the battery so that I can get a voltage reading. Here you can see superimposed the voltage and the time for each battery as the test was being run.
Why the third-party battery lost a bar right away, I have no idea. I'm going on the idea that probably these bars aren't calibrated equally. I will tell you that both batteries fully charged and sat in the charger for a while before I took them out. So I know that the charger had plenty of time to charge both of them. The third party battery lost another bar at a little over 2.5 minutes. The third party battery loses the third bar at a little over 4.5 minutes. Here, the Ego battery loses its first bar at almost 5.5 minutes. The Ego battery loses its second bar at about 10.5 minutes. It's looking like the third party battery is dropping its green lights at a very, very uneven rate. And the third party battery loses its fourth bar at about 10.5 minutes. The Ego battery loses its third bar at about 15 minutes. Here, instead of a red light, the last bar starts flashing before it finally gives up the ghost at 18 minutes and 37 seconds. Here we'll just zip through the rest really fast after the Ego battery starts blinking red and gives up the ghost at 25 minutes and 12 seconds. What can we garner from this data? Well, we know that the labeled capacity of both batteries, the Ego and the third party battery, are 5 amp hours. That's what they're selling them as. When we look at the runtime in minutes, we find that the Ego battery from full charge to stopping was 25.2 minutes. The third party battery was less at 18.6 minutes. We also look at the final voltage, and the final voltage for the Ego battery was 41 minutes and some change. And the final voltage for the third party battery was 41.37. So if you look at that runtime, the estimated average battery capacity is 5 amp hours for the Ego battery. And if that's the case, then the third party battery would be 3.7 amp hours. And there's probably a few reasons why that's the case. We'll talk about that in a minute. Using this data, I calculated an estimated watt hours. Now, Ego claims this battery has 280 watt hours, but um, the estimate for calculation comes out to 240, and it's probably closer to the 280. I don't know. This is an estimate. But if that's the case, then the third-party battery is about 178 watt hours. And those watt hours can be very telling. I wish I had equipment just to measure that. The run times are about 26% less for the third-party battery. And so is the estimated average capacity from that 26% less. Interestingly, the weight of the third party battery is 16% less. Now, this could be caused by a number of factors. One could be inferior cells, they could cause that to happen. Another one could be that the battery management system, the BMS, is not balancing the voltages, so they're not getting the true capacity out of each battery. Probably, and this is a speculative thing, it probably is because of fewer cells in the battery, which is a complaint with some of these batteries, particularly with some people in the past who have taken some apart and find some cells missing.
So, the bottom line, should you get one of these third-party batteries, there are some compelling reasons to make the jump and get one of these, and there are some compelling reasons not to. Let's take a look at them. First of all, this battery costs about 60% less than the Ego battery. That is a compelling reason. $299 and the regular price, not what I paid for, but the regular price, $85. So what you could do is you could actually get one of these and have about 74% the capacity of this one. Or for the price of one of these, you could buy 3 of these and still have money left over. So this is $299. 3 of these would be about $255. You have 5 amps here. 3 of these batteries would give you a total of about 11.5 amps. So you would be able to get a lot more capacity out of those 3 batteries than you would with one of these for less money, by about $45. But before one jumps into that, there are a couple of other things to consider. And these can't be tested. They're speculative only. This third-party battery, will it last as long as one of these, or will you be throwing it away soon? So if this costs 3 times as much, but this lasts 3 times less, then and you have to throw it away, there's really nothing to be gained there. So that's the gamble. Some Ego batteries have gone belly up early on, but there is a 3-year warranty on this. Most of these batteries have a 90-day warranty. Some of them a year, but a 90-day. So that if you don't think the quality of this is going to make it, then it may not be a buy. And another reason, and this is a really strong one for me, because if it wasn't for this, I might take a chance on this battery, thinking, well, if I get a few years out of it, it would be a deal compared to the Ego battery. But it's the safety factor, and this is a complete unknown. But we do know that some third-party batteries that are cheap, like in those hoverboards that were all the rage for a while, some inexpensive electric bikes and other products, they do have safety issues with lithium batteries. And a lithium battery fire can be very, very serious. They aren't put out by conventional means, and they can burn white hot. So that when you get a lithium battery fire, you often just let it burn itself out. If you have an EV, a car that catches on fire, because of the batteries. And there have been cases, although they are rare, they usually clear things away and let the fire go out on its own. So if I were to keep this battery, and I have actually done some of the calculations of the heat and the pressure involved in a battery about this size, I would keep it in a metal ammo box, probably with sand or fire brick in the bottom of it. I would keep it in the middle of some place like a garage floor that is cleared of anything around it. And if I drilled 5 1/2-inch holes near the top of the ammo box, it would be enough to release the pressure if a fire ever started with one of these. And it has to be about 5 1/2-inch holes for that to occur. Now, you have to weigh whether you want to take the chances for safety, whether you want to take the chances for longevity over time compared to the price. Personally, I am going to send this back. I have enough batteries. I wanted to test one to find out. I would have considered holding on to it if it were equal to the Ego battery, but I think I'm just going to ship it back, which I can do. That was the agreement I had, and I'm not going to keep it. But your mileage may vary, and it's a decision you'd have to make. That safety factor, though, is really a compelling thing to think about, isn't it? Now, a brief word about the science experiment. Tried to control a lot of the variables that we talked about at the beginning and tried to make just one stand out and the other ones be controls. We didn't get them all. You can never cover them all. If you have a science experiment that's poorly designed, and I've seen so many of them. I love seeing the things online where they did a big study where 20,000 people took vitamin X over a period of a number of years, and they lived 17% longer on average. But they never say whether those people that are prone to take vitamins might also be those people who are going to the gym or other factors. So I'm not fond of bad science. This is not perfect science. There are lots of things that were in my control that I could have worked on or out of my control, either equipment-wise or the situation. But I want to thank you for watching, and I hope maybe this helps you to decide if you want to get a third-party battery or not, or if you want to have one in your house that is combustible. Till next time, thank you.